welcome everyone on behalf of the PTI board and members nationwide to another online edition.
The local media for some time now, we struggle with survival issues and
Exactly. So that's the problem. Sometimes you could become guilty.
As journalists, we do our work regardless.
Information also from, or it's lack of access of information that makes reporting difficult.
Yes, they feel the absence of the local ABS-CBN.
At tinitiyak po natin na kung anumang mga pag-aabuso na maaaring nakumit.
We wish PTI for a longer success.
Ang PTI po will be joining other media organizations in support in solidarity for what.
So there is no escaping
recording in progress.
We had some new activities, great activities. We had the COVID Chronicles that
strengthen ng regional memberships na existing media and information literacy.
Security of the workers in their job.
Grotesque judicial harassment campaign against Ruffler. And then, of course, it
is saddening that basic human rights are violated.
We should first thank institutions like the PPI and other NGOs.
I believe that journalism education must address the issues and challenges discussed this afternoon.
Let's not be quick to judge. Let's not be quick to insult others. So I hope that...
I believe that there's a statesman in every politician, and it's up to us to find it in every way we can.
Sana yung evidence-based na behavior ma-retain natin in terms of conversation.
And so when opportunities like these arise, for both Nicolation and myself to be supportive.
Balangkas tayo ng polisiya, yung tinatawag nating learner support aids.
We try to factor each of these posts, lalo if we find maging mapagmatyag rin sa post mismo ng account o page.
So yung bullying and sexual harassment is very common. Go back to the basics.
One thing is, ang nakita kong development is using mobile devices to follow up.
And we're creating modules now, obviously with the help of the Department of Education also.
Now more than ever, at any other time, journalists need to uphold their core values.
There's been a significant shift in coverage of Mindanao by non-Mindanaoan reporters.
So there has to be a partnership between COMELEC, the social media provider.
So there's just really no way to change and reform the law to make it responsive to the very intent of the law.
And we should work together in improving that relationship.
My favorite quote of Jefferson, that I'd rather have a newspaper without government in society than government without newspaper.
Thanks everyone. Please join us in our other online activities with PTA and our partner organizations. Maraming salamat po. Keep safe.
The infamous Maguindanao Massacre. Kami po sa PTI, these are actually our second offering on the same topic, and we want to tell the public, want to tell everyone na hindi po natin dapat tong kalimutan. But to officially open our activity today, let us have the resident representative of the Seidel Foundation to the Philippines, Attorney Guts Heineke. Thank you so much, Seidel Foundation, for supporting this event today and for the so many activities that PTI has conducted during the pandemic. Attorney Guts, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Ariel. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Seidel Foundation is proud, and we are nevertheless happy, although it's a sad topic this morning, to work together with the PPI and to sponsor this roundtable discussion this morning about the massacre. Just a little background, Seidel Foundation, we are an NGO and we are for more than 40 years in the Philippines, and it's our goal to build up democracy and good governance. And both words, democracy and good governance, can only work and exist when the population is informed about what's going on. And that's the reason why we are supporting civic journalism through the PPI. And why we are supporting this roundtable discussion this morning concerning the massacre itself. Please allow me that I'm not saying much. It was one of the worst massacres for journalists worldwide. I although I was not here in the country at that time, learned from it in the news. It went to all the countries worldwide. It was a big shock. And so having said that, yes, please, let's start the discussion to this hard and sad topic. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Attorney Gus. You're so right. It's so sad to remember that horrible incident, but we should never forget we must fight for justice and fight for 58. As we remember all those names that we are going to flash on screen, let's have a moment of silence as we remember these names. Care? Tandaan po natin, they're all 58, 32 were journalists on that infamous November 22, 2009 massacre. Ako po si Ariel Sabilino, Executive Director ng Philippine Press Institute. Today, we are going to discuss again or talk about this important part of our history. As I said, na hindi natin kailangan, na hindi natin dapat makakalimutan. With us ay yung mga taong may kinalaman sa insidente at ipapakilala po sa atin ng ating EPI Seminar Director and also Moderator for the second roundtable for this month. Please welcome Joyce Pañares.
Hi, good morning Ariel. Magandang umaga sa lahat ng participants natin today. Medyo malungkot yung ating discussion, but of course the purpose of this is not just to not forget, but also to push on dun sa quest natin for full justice. We are lucky today that we are joined by Ms. Reyna Fe Castillo. She will be our first speaker. She's the daughter of slain photojournalist Reynaldo Momay, who is actually victim number 58, but until now is not legally recognized because the body of Momay has yet to be recovered. So Nenan is here with us now. She's joining us all the way from the US. Magandang umaga.
Magandang umaga po sa lahat.
If you have maybe an opening statement or may gusto ka bang sabihin bago tayo mag-go dun sa ibang speakers natin, Nanan?
Good morning, everyone. I would like to say thank you for your continued support to this case. It's been 12 years, but nakikita ko na hindi talaga nag-die down yung support. And I'm really thankful and grateful for all of you. It's because of you that I'm still here fighting. Kayo yung naging lakas ko, kayo yung naging sandigan ko, and I thank God for all of you. I thank God for all the people behind me, because if it's not because of you, I'm sure, I'm not here in front of you. I might be able to fight on my own, which is very hard. But because of you, I'm stronger. I'm stronger than ever. So thank you guys, and thank you very much for all the support, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nanan. I will come back to you in a bit. Pupuntahan lang natin yung iba nating speakers. We also have Mr. Jonathan De Santos. He's the chairperson of the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, yung NUJP po. Talagang patagal na rin nakatutok dito sa kaso na ito from day one. Jonathan?
Hi, hello.
Magandang umaga.
Good morning. Oo, siguro short, manifestation of support na, yeah, we actually, the entire media community naman, no, stands with the families of the victims, kay Ma'am Reyna Fe, na sama-sama po natin itong babantayan yung kaso to indeed get full justice over this massacre. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. We're actually waiting for other speakers. Medyo the Deputy State Prosecutor, si Ms. Olivia Torrevillas, is just attending another case, but will join us in a bit. Also, si Ms. Grace Morales, who is actually si Grace lost 2 family members in the massacre, lost her husband, si Rosel Morales, and also lost her sister, si Marites Cablitas. Balikan lang natin, I was covering Malacanang when this happened. Jonathan, where were you? Noong November 23, 2009.
Sobrang bagong reporter pa ako niyan. So, I medyo late ko na siya nalaman, no? But when I found out, as with everyone, I think napaupo naman tayong lahat na, what happened? Correct. Tapos, parating, kasi disjointed yung info, para update ng update. So, parang napakagrabe niya. And I think I can speak with, certainty na it has affected yung media community, like yung consciousness nating lahat since then. Forever na, lagi natin siya naiisip, not just pag November, no?
Kami, Joyce, Luz and I, nasa Palawan kami, we're having a workshop.
Nung PPI.
Oo, Puerto Princesa kami nila, Luz. I think it was a KBP workshop. Okay. With KBP, oo. Nakakalungkot, no? That time.
Ako, I recall, we were covering Malacanang, and when we received the news, parang it was so unreal. We could not believe it that someone would actually kill 32 journalists ng ganun-ganun na lang, or 58 in total, In fact, hindi 58 pa yung una kasi in trickles. Tama si Jonathan. The information that arrived, parang it was in trickles. So hindi namin ma-piece together pa. Tapos parang so unheard of to do something like that in broad daylight in a democratic country like the Philippines, di ba? And this was really a black eye in our status as a democratic country. Naalala ko nito, parang several years after the Ampatuan massacre, we were consistently top 3, Jonathan, Top 3, third most dangerous.
Most dangerous, yes.
For journalists after this incident.
Parang this year lang yata tayo nag-improve somewhat.
Yeah.
Although, kasi it's a matter of yung time.
Yes.
Oo. Yeah.
Tapos yung iba pa dito, talagang personal friends. Like ako, Bong Reblando is a good friend and a classmate in one of the trainings. And we could not believe it that it happened. Tapos paiba-iba pa yung statements noon, where was Ampatuan, nasa Malacanang, parang iba-iba talaga. But over the years, napansin din namin, and then I think you can also give your thoughts about this, parang nung unang mga taon, talagang every month it was being commemorated. And then it slowly parang nag-wane? Nag-wane ba yung support? Tama ba yung term na yun, Jonathan? O masyado nang naging normal?
Yeah, you're right. No, I think may time na every month I may candle lighting.
Yeah.
No? And then, hindi naman siguro nag-wane. Ano lang din, syempre, ang best way naman talaga natin to help as journalists is to report, no, and to write, no. And dahil nga rin sa tagal ng daloy ng kaso, there was not a lot to report. And then, ayun, eventually, once a year, hindi naman, I don't think na it's a lack of support, but it reflects more on the process, on the long process, no. And marami naman din kasing nangyayari na, kunyari, may deadline kayo na habol, no? So, possibly hindi ka makakasaglit dun sa candle lighting, no? But I'm sure we have all kept it naman in our consciousness. Parang naaalala naman talaga natin siya.
Yeah. Saka Joyce, di ba?
Oh yeah, go Ariel. Yeah,
it also coincides with our call to end impunity.
Of course.
No, di ba? Oo, kasi nga every year ginugunita natin siya. Pero sabi nga natin in our last roundtable natin, public forum pala, Jonathan, with the JSAP, di ba? Sabi natin, oo, wag lang kalimutan, wag lang magdasal, pero talagang maging mapagmatsyag, di ba?
Yeah.
At sundan talaga yung kaso, kasi if we can, like, have something like every month or hindi naman, depende, kasi sabi nga Jonathan, may proseso kasi kung everything gets storified in the newsroom, siyempre may event, may sinusundan, pero yun nga, I think, no, for those who are watching, especially yung mga kabataan na siguro wala pa sa consciousness sila yon o hindi pa pinanganak. I think it's good to talk about this in the classrooms with your teachers. Tapos, hindi lang ngayon dahil kino-commemorate natin. Pero I think every chance we get, kung merong public forums, merong ganito, pag-usapan natin kasi this is not just about the 58 who died, pero this is about the welfare of all, not just by the media industry, but yung sinabi ko na Jonathan nung last time, yung publiko na sinerve natin. At sabi nga ni Attorney Gats kanina, wala ang demokrasya kung wala yung mga elements of democracy in place, such as protection of press freedom, promotion of press freedom, etc., and media welfare as well, and freedom of expression, di ba?
Kaya tama ka, Ariel, kailangan talagang tutukan itong kasong to because as of now, only 28 people have been convicted. Of course, we're happy that already includes the mastermind, si Dato Andal Jr. and Seidel Ampatuan. But 56 were acquitted. Diba? Tapos marami pang at large, marami pang suspects at large. In particular, yung case nung father ni Nenen is really special for us. Special in a way na hindi talaga dapat bitawan itong kasong ito. Nenen, would you like to talk a little about your father's case?
When it happened in 2009, my boys are 11 and 16. So medyo they were so young at the time, and I feel bad now that I realize na nandito na ako sa States, no? I realized that my boys were never tawag ba dito? Hindi sila na follow up psychologically. Both of them has like, should I call, nagkaroon sila ng, my eldest has like a panic attack. if you see the, the cat that I have, na lumalapit sa akin, alaga yan ng panganay ko na nagkaroon ng panic attack, and yan yung kanyang emotional support cat. Hindi sila na handle ng maayos. Yun yung nakikita kong kulang sa atin dyan sa Pilipinas. Yung mga bata they were not processed at all, Kasi if you will look back, ako kasi I'm a nurse, but I didn't realize na hindi ko dapat sinama yung bunso ko. My youngest was 11 at the time, and during the search, he was with me, and he was even looking at the cadavers. You know what I mean? Kung ako as an adult, nagkaroon ako ng months of like, I don't want to look at the mirror, because every time I look at the mirror, what I'm seeing is not myself. I'm seeing all the cadavers that I've seen, in the graveyard, in the morgue, and lahat yun. Because I've seen all the 57 bodies. That's the trauma with me, because if those families, when the time that they saw their cadaver, they're done, right? They're done, because like, okay, this is our cadaver, we already have it. They don't have to look forward. On our case, we have to, even if sinabi na nila na, this is our cadaver, no, let me see it. You know what I mean? Let me see it, because like, I'm still looking for my dad, Baka nagkamali kayo. I have that in my thoughts na baka nagkamali kayo. Because if you will look at the faces, you can't recognize the body. You can't recognize them. Sabog yung mga utak, sabog yung mga mata, sabog. So, I was thinking that, baka nagkamali kayo. So, I have to look at each one. Kahit na babae o malalaki man yan, I have to look at the cadavers. So, yun yung naging trauma sa akin na naging evident siya, I think 2 months after, na hindi ako makatulog. I can't sleep if I'm not really yung nasa malapit na talaga, yung kailangan matulog na ako dahil hindi ko na mapigilan. Because I can't close my eyes. If I'll close my eyes, I'll see all the cadavers that I've seen. So ganun kahirap sa akin. And I never realized when I was bringing my son with me, looking for their grandpa, na magiging epekto sa kanya. So, I know emotionally meron, nararamdaman ko. That's why, nung panahon na yun, I have to process myself first before I could help them. So I need to release forgiveness so that hindi ko mai-project sa kanila yung anger, so that I will not project the anger, the hatred, because I know that if I'll keep the anger or the hatred in my heart, I will not project it to somebody. I will project it to the people around me. And who are those people around me? It's my children. It's my family. So I have to process myself, and with the help of our pastor, with the help of Christian friends, I really thank God because I was able to do it. So napakahirap. So yun yung isang wala sa atin, yung i-process yung emotional at psychological aspect ng mga biktima at ng mga pamilya ng biktima.
Just to maybe remind our audience, because some of them may have already forgotten some of the details of the massacre, or it has become just another statistics to them that we keep on saying 58, 32. These were people who were brutally killed. Diba, Nanan, yung isang katawan doon, ilang bullets yung tumama sa kanya, crisscrossing the body, diba? skulls
Yeah.
were bashed open.
Yeah.
One of them
We-
lost an eye in the process.
mata.
They were backhoed. Diba? So this is really a gruesome, grisly massacre. It was really a massacre. What happened? Ariel, I have a question pala. Sorry, I will involve you in this discussion. How has the Maguindanao massacre parang shaped the way journalists in the Philippines respond to cases like this? Parang it has become a unifying position, ano? Is that a correct assumption? Is that a correct thing to say? Baka nakaano pa si Ariel. Naka-mute yata. Jonathan, ano sa tingin mo? It was really a unifying, parang everyone, regardless of your media outfit, regardless of your political leanings, this was something that was roundly and widely condemned by everyone in the media community.
Yes, definitely, no. Kasi parang for the longest time, parang and actually that's why they were there nga, with the convoy, no, to cover the filing, and also to parang deter any chance of violence, no. But unfortunately, hindi nga yun yung nangyari. So parang it really it really parang exposed the fact that there are people who will cross that line. Parang civilians ito eh. They were parang joining a political exercise. They were joining an electoral exercise, no? And it was their right to do that. And yun nga, yung colleagues natin were there to cover, no? So it was part of the political landscape of the Philippines, a part of the process. And yet, nadamay sila dito, nasama sila sa massacre. So I think for everyone, it was like, so it was really too far. An attack on one journalist is bad enough, pero yung ganito kadami and ganito kagrabe. Yeah, I don't think you'll find a journalist back then or even now who will say na what happened was not, as you said, it wasn't gruesome, wasn't terrible. No? So yeah, roundly condemned yan until now, I think.
But were there also like realizations in terms of how to handle political coverages like this one?
Mm-hmm. Ano din, we did start, I think, well, kasi NUJP has emphasized in safety and security training, no? And part of that then is the realization na just being a journalist or kunyari yung press ID mo won't really protect you, no? So we have taken steps then to kunyari plan coverage and kahit yung mga protocols. Yep.
Susugan ko lang, tama yung sinabi mo, Jonathan. For the longest time, we always thought the press ID would protect us. Some shit would go down. Diba, ang una mong tendency is, we're safe, we're okay because we have a press ID with us. We never thought that this kind of attack would happen sa kapwa natin ng mga journalists, ano?
Oo, and I think yung effects yan, yung realization na yan, it has had an effect on us na parang, yeah, we do have to be more careful talaga. And ayun nga, no, we also have to, kasi there was a tendency, lalo na in the early years, no, na parang there was a tendency rin to parang blame the victims, na parang bakit kasi kayo nandiyan. But that wasn't the point. They were doing their job and hindi talaga dapat, unthinkable yung ganito, and it should have remained unthinkable. So that's why we also commemorate this massacre, no, to remind everyone that something like this happened and that hindi na dapat siya maulit.
Jonathan, balikan kita ha, and then I think the Ampatuan Maguindanao case panel of the Department of Justice is already with us.
Okay.
We have Ms. Olivia Torrevilla. She's the Deputy State Prosecutor. And she's also joined by Ms. Susan Villanueva and Mr. Toffel Austria. Ma'am Torrevillas, are you there na po? Ms. Olivia?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Ayan. Ma'am, maraming salamat. Full force po ang DOJ, ang panel ngayon with us today. Sobrang nagpapasalamat po kami. Baka
yes, ma'am.
We can start with an update po, siguro, nung kaso.
Sige po. We actually prepared an opening statement. So I am with prosecutors Susan Villanueva and Tofil Austria. Good morning po, everyone.
Morning po. Morning, ma'am.
Okay, we understand that there are certain concerns regarding the Ampatuan Maguindanao massacre case that we need to discuss today. Anyway, before we bring up some concerns, I think on behalf of the Secretary of Justice, we will give you a quick rundown of what transpired post-promulgation of the partial consolidated decision on December 19, 2019. So to refresh, 28 accused have been convicted as principal and sentenced to reclusion perpetua without parole on 57 counts of murder. 15 were convicted as accessories and sentenced to a prison term of 6 years to 10 years and 8 months. 55 were acquitted on ground of reasonable doubt. 3 more other accused were likewise acquitted for absolute failure of the prosecution to prove their guilt, while the cases against 80 accused were archived, considering that they will remain at large. Meanwhile, civil indemnity, damages, and loss of earning capacity were awarded by the court to the heirs of the victims. On March 11, 2020, the court issued an omnibus order clarifying certain oversights in the consolidated partial decision dated December 19, 2019, and included the conviction of 3 more accused as principal by direct participation, while at the same time acquitted 4 more accused. In sum, there was a total of 29 accused convicted as principal, 15 as accessories, 57 acquitted, while the cases against 7 accused were dismissed in accordance with Article 89 of the Revised Penal Code by reason of their death. Further, the omnibus order included the award of civil indemnity and damages to the heirs of a victim whose name was inadvertently omitted in the consolidated partial decision. Out of the total 44 convicted accused, 2 filed petitions for certiorari, 39 filed notice of appeal before the Court of Appeals, and only 3 did not appeal their conviction. On the other hand, the people, through the Office of the Solicitor General, filed petitions for certiorari under Rule 65 of the Rules of Court, questioning the propriety of the acquittal of 4 accused. PO1 Warden Degawan, Dato Ahmad Tato Ampatuan, Dato Sajid Islam Ampatuan, and SPO2 Badawi Bakan. Unfortunately, in a notice of judgment dated May 24, 2021, the Court of Appeals dismissed the petition for certiorari against Dato Ahmad Tato Ampatuan. So the OSG filed a motion for reconsideration, which up to now is pending consideration by the appellate court. As good news, however, in a resolution dated June 14, 2021, the Court of Appeals reversed the acquittal of SPO2 Badawi Bakal and instead found him guilty beyond reasonable doubt as accessory to the crime. So in all, 16 accused have been convicted as accessory to the crime of murder on 57 counts. With respect to the victims, Attorney Gilbert Andres filed a notice of appeal for the heirs of Macdelbert Ariola, insofar as the civil aspect, and Reynaldo Momay, criminal and civil aspect, while Attorney Nena Santos likewise filed notices of appeal on behalf of her clients and the heirs of Andres Teodoro, insofar as the civil aspect is concerned. Meanwhile, starting February 19, 2020, or exactly 2 months after the promulgation of judgment on December 19, 2029, the hearing of the Ampatuan Maguindanao Massacre case resumed following the arrest of 6 accused. However, one of the accused was released pursuant to a court order dated July 12, 2021, after it turned out that he was not the real accused. On the other hand, one accused, Gambayan Kasim, passed away on September 13, 2021 due to chronic kidney disease. The trial against 2 accused, Barakir and Pagabangan, was already terminated and is now awaiting decision by the court. As regards the two other accused, Adam and Singkala, the initial presentation of their defense evidence is set on December 1, 2021. Finally, for the information of everybody, on September 15, 2020, the prosecution panel filed an ex parte omnibus motion to amend and admit the fourth amended informations, which sought the inclusion of 8 additional accused. Dato Harris Ampatuan Makapandeg, Dato Diego Digo Mamalapat, Mautim Upam Rene Upam, Dato Moning Ampatuan Asim, Daud Kamedan alias Commander Kwat, Dali Kamendan alias Commander Boy, and a certain Hiton from the Philippine National Police, against whom probable cause for the crime of murder was found based on the DOJ dated August 28, 2019. In an order dated December 29, 2020, the court granted said ex parte omnibus motion. So that's all po. Thank you.
Ma'am, baka pwede pong I'll start the question while waiting for Ms. Weng and si Grace to join us. Ano po ang pwede nating asahan maybe in the next year? Lalo po't higit dun sa mga at-large na suspects. Saka yung sa kaso po sana ni Momay, may pag-asa po ba? Paano po ba mag-move forward yung case po na yon?
Actually po, the Council of Momay filed a petition for certiorari.
Yung anak po pala niyo, ma'am, is with us, si Nana, all the way from the US. Kasama po natin today.
Both po, criminal and civil aspect. So they elevated it. And then there is a pending motion for reconsideration before the Department of Justice. Pero ang case po kasi ni Momay is handled by a different panel of prosecutors. Yung preliminary investigation pa before the department. So sa level po ng judiciary, it's already filed. The certiorari was already filed with the Court of Appeals po, both civil and criminal.
Ma'am, para naman dun sa mga at-large po na suspects.
Sa at-large po, ang prosecution po, wala kasi kaming control. Ang at-large po, ang may trabaho po dyan ay PNP. So, anyway, I think it was the commitment made by the Secretary during one of our meetings that he will coordinate. And alam ko po ang coordination naman with the PNP is okay. So every time po may nahuhulang PNP, automatic naman po yan na kinocommit. So it's the work of the PNP, ma'am, ang manghuli po ng at-large.
Mga ilan pa po ba, ma'am, itong hinahabol natin?
We have 88. Apo, we have 83 po accused who are still at large.
So 83 people more na kailangan kong habulin. And I think kahapon there was also a reiteration of the commitment. Tama, Jonathan, you also received that statement, ano? Parang the government made a commitment again, si Carlo Nograles, I think, during a briefing. Pero sana mas mapabilis, parang yun lang naman yung hope ng lahat ng mga victims and lahat po ng nakasubaybay dito, na sana mas mapabilis po yung pag-usad nung kaso, nung paghuli dun sa mga hindi pa nahuhuli na suspects po. Kung may questions po ang ating mga participants sa ating mga panelists, pwede nyo pong ilagay sa chat box. At habang wala pa, we will continue with the roundtable muna. Jonathan, I have a question for you. Ay, sorry.
Sure.
Nag-multitasking ka ba? Sorry. Hindi, ang tanong ko lang, after ba nitong Ampatuan Massacre, just a quick look back and analysis, tingin mo ba nagkaroon ng parang na-embolden yung mga pwedeng manakit, pwedeng mag-attack sa media? Kasi parang feeling ko this is something that really causes impunity eh. Na parang if they can do such a dastardly act in broad daylight, then they can attack also one by one journalists. Ano? May trend bang ganon? We stick to the data. May ganon bang trend after 2009? Tumaas ba?
Hindi ko masasabi since 2009, no? But yeah, I think tumaas nga. But well, I can say, no, na yung progress dito sa case na ito or yung slow progress nga does send a signal that you can attack journalists yun nga, with impunity na. Kasi for example, meron pa nga more than 80 na at large, no? So they might have escaped already. They may have baka obviously nagtatago sila, no? So yung idea or na walang certainty, parang ano siya not so much yung parusa, no, but yung certainty that you will be caught and that you will be held accountable. Yun, inihintay pa rin natin yun for this case. And since then, may mga media pa rin naman na napatay. And we do credit, no, yung kunyari, yung meron na tayong Presidential Task Force on Media Security, no, and they do act quickly in these cases, no, but minsan kasi nare-resolve siya or counted siya as resolved or solved na, pero ano lang siya, may charges na final against the suspect, and minsan wala pang arrests, no. And there are also some siguro attempts at times na to classify these attacks or to classify these killings as not work related, so parang hindi na sila counted suddenly, although syempre tuloy naman yung kaso, pero yung idea lang na hindi na sila priority in that sense, no. So basically, sa dami na sinabi ko, no, it's the idea that you will be caught, and dahil nga sa tagal ng kasong to, there is that sense that you can get away with it, and people have gotten away with it naman also.
Ayan, balikan kita, Jonathan, and the other speakers, pati yung panel ng prosecutors, ano. Tawagin ko lang po si Miss Mary Grace Morales. Siya po yung asawa ni journalist Rosel Morales at kapatid po ni Marites Cablitas na parehas pong napaslang dun sa Maguindanao Massacre. Miss Grace, magandang umaga po. Joining us all the way from saan po kayo ngayon, ma'am?
General Santos po.
Nasa Jensen po. Si Miss Grace po ay nagtatag din ng, nagtatag po ba? Tama po ba nagtatag? O pinamumunuan ninyo yung dalawang organization sa Justice Now sa kayong Heroes para dun sa mga anak po ng mga biktima. Tama po ba?
Yung unang, yung Years of 1123 po,
Yes.
yung pong grupong nabuo namin ng mga family sa General Santos. Kasi nung time na yun, hindi pa namin na-met yung ibang families sa ibang lugar like ng Coronadal. And after that, nung nasa New JP na kami, napagplanuhan ng families na kailangan maging buo lahat, yung pamilya magkaroon ng isang grupo, hindi lang yung taga-Jensan. So nabuo yung organization of the slain journalists of the Ampatuan, of the families of the Ampatuan Massacre na tinatawag na Justice Now. After nun, kaya yun po sa ngayon, isang pamilya kami, isang grupo kaming lumalaban para sa hustisyang hinahangad namin.
Miss Grace, baka you'd want to share a little lang tungkol dun sa case po nung husband ninyo, sa kapatid po ninyo. And ano po yung pakiramdam ninyo ngayon given the developments dun sa kaso po?
Yes po. Siyempre po, isang taon na naman po yung dumagdag dun sa kaso natin sa Ampatuan Massacre at patuloy pa rin tayo nananawagan sa hustisya nila. Lalo na po ako nananawagan sa hustisya sa dalawang pamilyang nawala sa akin, yung sa kapatid ko at sa asawa ko. Siyempre hindi madali para sa akin yun at lalong hindi rin madali sa ibang pamilya. Pinilit namin ituloy yung buhay kahit na mahirap. Ang daming problema, ang daming kailangan naming magsakripisyo. Kailangan namin ituloy lang yung laban besides dun sa takot na naramdaman namin noon. Isang nakakatulong ng malaki yung mga organisasyong tumulong sa amin, lalo na yung mga media organizations. Sila yung nagbigay ng scholarship sa mga bata, merong mga livelihood, merong mga medical assistance. Kaya kahit paano naman gumaan yung buhay namin at tuloy-tuloy lang yung laban namin para makamit yung hustisya. Sa usaping sakit, katulad ng nararamdaman ni Lennon, ganun din yung nararamdaman namin noon. Wala namang pwedeng sabihin na iba yung sakit nararamdaman namin po o nararamdaman niya kasi lahat kami nawalan. Siguro, medyo lucky kami kasi nakita namin yung bangkay na mga mahal namin sa buhay kumpara dun kay Nenin. Kaya naiintindihan namin siya kung bakit napaka-eager niya ituloy yung laban dahil yun lang naman talaga ang tama. At sa bandang saga ng amin na mga pamilya, itutuloy namin yung laban hindi lang para sa amin kundi para sa laban ni Nenin. Dahil yung bilang po ng biktima ay hindi naman po 57 kundi 58 po.
Grace, I was just wondering because you dealt also with the mga anak, lalo yung mga anak ng mga biktima. And 12 years ang nakalipas na. Yung iba dyan siguro baka hindi na minors, nag-start as very young kids. Ngayon baka nasa college na or graduate na ng kolehiyo,
Yes po.
Kamusta sila? Kasi sabi nga ni Nenen, yung mismong anak niya, nakita niya may trauma ng konti, 'di ba? Yung coming from that kind of very traumatic experience. Paano yung pag-cope nila with this case?
Marami pong mga anak nung time na yun yung talagang masabi kong na-discarril yung buhay. Kasi nga sa mismo anak ko nangyari yung trauma. Hindi madaling sabihin na yung naranasan nila dahil yun din naranasan syempre ng ibang mga anak. Pero sa tulong, tulad nga na nasabi ko, sa tulong ng mga organisasyon like INUJP, kasi minsan nagkaroon kami ng psychosocial activity para dun sa mga bata, para ma-process nila.
Ko parang may part pa doon na nag-painting.
Yes po.
Naalala ko yun dahil nag-post sa Cubao na nung mga na-paint na Cubao or summer QC, Naalala ko yung activity na yun.
Actually, 2 beses. Yung una, yung buong pamilya, ang dami-dami namin. Kasi kasama din yung ibang mga relatives, yung mga pamangkin, mga kapatid. Kaya po ang talagang napakarami namin noon. Pero nakakatulong ng malaki yung ginawang yun ng organisasyon ng INUJP kasi ini-explain sa amin kung paano ba, bakit nangyari yung ganun, lalong-lalo na dun sa mga bata. At yun po, syempre kami ng mga magulang, kung ninalalayan naman namin sila, yung mga bagay lang na yung mga batang wala na talagang nanay, wala na ring tatay, yun yung mahirap sa kanila. Kaya hanggang ngayon, kahit masasabi kong kahit na 12 years na may mga bata pa rin dumaranas ng hirap, hindi lang doon sa trauma ng nangyari. Parang hindi rin kasi nabago yung buhay nila after nun, bagkus parang lumala pa. Pero yung sa ibang families naman, kasi iba-iba naman yung naging development iba-iba naman yung pagbabago. Sa tulong ng mga media organizations na nagbigay ng scholarship, may mga anak na rin nakapagtapos ng pag-aaral. At sa ngayon, may mga trabaho na tumutulong na rin sa mga magulang. Pero may mga bata talagang nahinto after ng scholarship grant. Kaya yun po, sa ngayon, nag-aantay pa rin sila ng pagkakataong makapag-aral ulit.
Miss Grace, balikan ko po kayo ha. Meron lang po tayong tanong dito. We have a question from Mike Navalio of ABS-CBN. This is directed to Prosecutor Torrevillas, ma'am. Ang question po niya, although a different prosecution team is handling Momay's case, can you discuss the difficulty of proving the death of someone whose cadaver has not yet been found? What kind of evidence daw po will be needed for the case to proceed or to move forward?
Good morning po. Good morning, Attorney Navallo. When the case of Momay was filed with the Regional Trial Court, we consolidated it with the 57 counts of murder. So Momay's case is actually 58 count of murder. And the same panel handled the case of Momay. Prior to the filing of the information, there was a panel who handled the preliminary investigation, and they found probable cause on the basis of the evidence presented during the preliminary investigation. So we have circumstantial evidence. There were testimonies of witnesses who established the fact that Momay was seen during the convoy, yung convoy po, prior to reaching the place where the incident took place. However, the only piece of evidence that was recovered to prove that Momay was part of the convoy was the denture. So no problem po yan with respect to probable cause. Kasi po mas maliit ang quantum of proof during the preliminary investigation. But when we reach the prosecution of this case before the regional trial court, remember po that we have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. Wala pong hibla ng duda that Momay was part of the convoy, that Momay was killed during the Ampatuan massacre. However, ang sabi po kasi ng court is we cannot prove corpus delicti, yung body of the crime, by reason of the recovery of denture. So, although we have testimonial evidence po na nagsasabing he was part of the convoy prior to going to Malating.
Hindi ba maliban sa denture, meron ding ID? Tama ba, Nenen? An ID was also recovered in the site.
Yes, ma'am. I cannot remember po na...
yes, ma'am. No, I just recalled because we wrote about that also.
Opo. So, ang sabi po kasi ng court, yung purpose, yung fact of death, because the case is murder, we have to establish fact of death. And because the only evidence is yun po, sa part po ng prosecution, the only evidence that we presented is the denture, and then yung testimonial evidence, we presented the dentist, we presented the witnesses who testified that he was seen prior to going to Malating. The court said na the prosecution failed to establish the corpus delicti. Ang importante po kasi sa murders, we prove the death, the fact of death. So since 57 po ang victims na naunang nag-file and 57 heirs po ang nagre-represent, the prosecution failed to present the fact of death po of Momay. So the lawyer of Momay elevated the case po, both criminal and civil po dun sa Court of Appeals. Now, on the part of the Department of Justice, I remember na there is a pending motion for reconsideration naman. So, yun.
Ma'am, medyo sundutin ko lang po Kasi parang when we talk about the DOJ prosecutors, parang it's always from a legal point of view.
Apo.
I was just wondering, how did this case affect you personally? Siyempre, tao rin naman yung mga prosecutors natin.
Of course
may
po.
pakiramdam, may emosyon. And I'm sure, kahit pa paano may impact ito.
Apo, sobrang laki po ng, actually, number one is hindi ka naman po pupuhanan sa Ampatuan Maguindanao Massacre Case Panel kung may question ng integrity and reputation. And I am very proud po of the panel, both yung first panel tsaka po yung panel po namin. Hindi ka kukunin dito kasi high profile po yung case.
Would you consider this as the hardest case you've handled in your career? Yeah.
Opo. Kasi I remember there were days na kahit Saturday, Sunday, nagtatrabaho kami. Uuwi po kami ng bahay, hindi kami nakakalinis ng sarili namin, matutulog na lang. Kasi imagine yung hearing 3 times a week. Tapos iba pa po yung motion hearing namin. And then magpiprepare kami ng witness na nasa kulungan Saturday, Sunday. Makikita namin yung ebidensya. How can you not be affected by the fact na nakikita namin yung mga namatay, yung family, iniiyakan kami, ma'am. Personal po masyado. I remember one of my witnesses, Gemma Oquiendo, kasi po lagi as a mother, I see to it, hiwala yung work. But when I handled this case, I even brought my witness to my home. Ganun po ka-personal sa amin. Nag-iiyakan po kami. So hanggang ngayon talagang yung lagi ko pong sinasabi sa mga bata, siguro yung pong buong panel, kapag po bigyan tayo ng opportunity to serve, we deliver it to the best of our ability. Kasi kung sa mga taga-gobyerno po, ang trabaho, gagawin lang natin na ito lang kasi yung kinikita from 8 to 5. No, ang buong panel po, sobra yung binigay namin na commitment po dito sa kaso na to. Kaya po yung family, I understand may mga nagkaroon ng conflict, nagkaroon ng but on our part, we did our best po to deliver justice to the victims. Na talagang pati po personal namin na buhay. Time po na nakasagsagan yung presentation ng ebidensya.
Yeah.
Both security po namin.
You're under scrutiny, ma'am. Suddenly,
Yes, ma'am.
all eyes were on you. Nenen and Grace are nodding in agreement na talagang mahirap din ito sa naging parte ng panel. Ma'am, may follow-up question lang po dito from... sorry, ma'am, puro sa inyo muna ito.
It's okay. Kasi parang first time na yun nag-join.
Actually, para sa kaalaman ng lahat, nung una parang nag-hesitate si Prosecutor Torribillas to join us dahil first time daw niya mag-press con. Pero roundtable naman ito, ma'am. Hindi naman super press con format. From Joel San Juan of Business Mirror, hindi raw niya sure kung nabanggit na sa case rundown kanina, pero ano raw po yung status ng motion for reconsideration filed before the DOJ ni Ms. Nena Santos in connection dun sa 40 individuals who were exonerated daw po?
Actually, I remember we asked for the amendment of the informations because there were personalities na indicted na po. That is, then po kasing second batch of the Ampatuan respondents. So, initially, nag-release po ang Department of Justice ng resolution. By the way po, yung second batch, ang ibang panel of prosecutors. And on the basis of the resolution, the informations were already amended, and then these personalities po were already included in the informations. I cannot discuss, ma'am, the status of the motion for reconsideration filed by Attorney Nena kasi ibang panel po. That's number one. Second, it's confidential unless po na pinirmahan na ng Prosecutor General.
Sige po, ma'am. Babalikan po namin kay ma'am. We will go to Nenen and to Miss Grace as well. Nenen, ano po ang inaasahan ninyo from the government? I mean, now that pending pa yung case ng dad mo.
Well, for me, sabi ko nga in my statement, I'm really at loss. Hindi kasi, how I wish nag-lawyer ako para mas maintindihan ko. Siguro kung di ako nakaalis ng Pilipinas, baka nag-law na nga ako eh. Pero, ang hirap intindihin eh. Kasi, ang sa akin ngayon, it's more of like, I just wanted my dad to be acknowledged. Kasi, kung hahanapin ko pa yung katawan, I doubt mahahanap ko pa. Ang kailangan ko lang is may managot doon sa pagkamatay at pagkawala ng tatay ko. Napakahirap.
Parang ang hirap na hindi mo man lang masabi, asan ba? Sino bang gumawa nito?
Exactly.
Alam siya namatay, and all those questions in your head.
Yeah, for some people, they would say, mag-move on ka na lang kasi matagal na yun, matawala na yung tatay mo. It's so easy to say that, sa ibang tao. Pero pag ikaw kasi ang nasa posisyon, napakahirap eh. The word that I can describe myself right now is I'm at loss. I'm at loss. As a daughter, I'm at loss. Alam ko yung lawyers ko ginagawa naman lahat. Ginagawa naman lahat. Minsan nga tinatanong ko ba, ano pang kulang, attorney? Ano pang kulang? Ano ba ang pwede kong gawin? May pwede ba akong gawin para maisulong natin yung kaso. Napakalayo ko para parang imposible namang umuwi ako dyan para magkalkal. And thinking that just after a year, pinagtataniman na yung, parang ngayon, my learnings with that incident is napakalaki po eh. Parang ngayon na nagkaroon ako ng drive to go on, invest, the forensic nursing part. It's because of my frustration to our forensic dealings with with the massacre. So yun ang naging impact sa akin as a nurse. Gusto kong pumunta sa way na makatulong ako sa ibang tao is because of my frustration sa sarili kong kaso. So hindi ko alam kung anong gusto kong hingin sa gobyerno eh. Ang gusto ko lang talaga ngayon is may managot. Dahil napaka-imposible na po na buhay pa yung tatay ko. Napaka-imposible na po na kung minsan may nagsasabi pa yung, alam ba yung hirap na pag may nagsasabi pa sa'yo na baka nagtatago lang.
Well, napakagalit yan.
Yeah, it's 12 years. It's 12 years. And hindi ho biro yung mga pinagdadaanan namin. Hindi ho biro yung pinagdadaanan ko as a daughter. Hindi biro ang pinagdadaanan ko as a mother ng mga anak ko na nakita yung incident. There are some people that are just so insensitive with the way they say their statement na parang ang dali lang. Mag-move on ka na. Mag-move on ka na. Wala na yun. Or parang sasabihin na, ibabato nyo na naman kay ganito. Hindi ko binabato kung kani-kaninong Poncio Pilato o kung kani-kaninong politiko ang nangyari. Binabato ko ang nangyari sa mga gumawa. Hindi ako yung tipo ng tao na idadivert ko yung bagay na sasabihin ko na si GMA yun kasi panahon yun ni GMA. No. Hindi naman si GMA ang pumatay sa tatay ko eh. Hindi naman si GMA ang gumawa sa tatay ko nun. Partly, naging mga tao yun ni GMA. Yes, I agree. Pero hindi ako nagagalit kay GMA. Galit ako sa mga Ampatuan dahil sila ang gumawa sa tatay ko nun. Sila ang pumatay sa tatay ko. At yun lang ang gusto ko. Managot sila sa ginawa nila sa tatay ko. That's all. Yun lang ang hinihingi ko. Na matulungan ako na mapanagot sila sa ginawa nila sa tatay ko.
Oh, I think nanan lahat naman tayo parang that's what we also want. In fact, hindi naman sa sinisisi natin yung gobyerno, but it's just that two presidents after the massacre, parang we would have wanted more. Lagi naman ganon. Laging kulang. Diba? Aminin na natin. Para sa mga biktima, para sa mga nakatutok sa kasong to, it will always be kulang. Kasi patay na eh. Kumbaga kung ano man ang gawin natin dito na remedyo na lang to post after the fact. Dapat talaga dito yung gobyerno would prevent things like this. Dapat yun ang step 1. Hindi natin step 1 yung magkaso, maghabol sa suspect, 'di ba? Parang dapat ganun. Hindi ganun yung mindset natin. Prevent things like this from happening again or from happening ever. At hindi yung magko-commit lang tayo na pag may nangyari, habulin natin yung suspect.
Yeah, ang nakakasakit lang kasi Miss Joyce is pagdating ng, every time na nangyayari ito, kasi papunta tayo ng election eh. Ito yung time na papunta tayo ng election. Parang, hello, gagamitin nyo na naman kami? That's how I feel. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. Para bang,
magbibigay ng commitment. Tapos
magbibigay ng commitment na, okay, sige, tutulungan namin kayo pag nanalo kami, whatever. Pero, pag nandyan na, okay, nasa na. Hindi na nga kami malingon eh. You know what I mean? Hindi na nga kami maalala. So, ito yung binabantayan ko kasi. It's because nangyari ito in direction of election. Parati siyang nagagamit sa election. And I'm just hoping na, Diyos ko naman, pag ginamit niyo naman kami sa election, parang mangilabot naman kayo na hindi kayo sa amin nangangako kayo doon sa mga namatay. You know, it's not, hindi sa amin. Sa mga namatay kayo nangangako na, you know, tutulungan niyo sila, hindi kami.
Grace, ganun din ba ang pakiramdam ninyo? Kasi is it the same frustration? I'm assuming it's the same frustration that you feel.
Yes po. Siyempre, kahit na may desisyon naman nung December 2019, sabihin nilang, sabi nila, resolve na yung case. Hindi pa naman po. Unang-una, marami pa rin at large. Andito pa yung kaso ni Nenen at meron pa kaming na-file na second case. So, hindi talaga na-resolve yun. So, we couldn't say na happy na kami doon, na okay na yun. Tapos na yung case. Dahil hindi po tapos yung case, patuloy po ang laban namin. Patuloy pa po kami lumalaban. At yan po yung hinihingi namin sa gobyerno. Kasi every activity, may mga activity katulad ng commemoration, parati nilang sinasabi na andito yung gobyerno handang tumulong sa inyo. At lalong-lalo na ngayon na darating yung election kasi maalala natin nangyari yung massacre is election time. So, syempre panawagan na rin namin sa gobyerno na sana hindi na maulit ito kasi hindi madali. Hindi madali para sa mga naiwang pamilya ng biktima yung habulin yung mga taong gumawa ng krimen, yung umasa sa walang hindi mo alam kung makukuha mo ba yung totoong hustisya. Kasi nga partial pa lang yung nakamit namin. Sabi nga nung ibang family na yung partial na justice is hindi naman daw justice. At syempre hindi sila masaya dun sa gutay-gutay. Kasi hindi, kahit naman daw, kahit na gutay-gutay, yung mga bang po.
Yeah. Paano ba natin i-define, Grace, ang full justice? Kasi lagi natin ginagamit yung term na yun, di ba? We want full justice. Paano ba ang parameters nun? Paano siya dapat i-define? Ano ang hinahanap natin pag sinabi natin na full justice yung pinaglalaban natin dito?
Yung full justice para sa amin is ma-convict lahat ng taong naging kasama sa plano ng pagpatay, mga masterminds, lalo-lalo na, yung naging accessories, at yung mga, kahit na, yung mga kakilala sa labas na naging part ng plano ng massacre. At syempre, justisya, hindi lang kasama sa civil aspect ng kaso, yung para dun sa mga families na naiiwan. Pero syempre, doon kami nakapush ngayon sa hustisya na panawagan. Yun po ang full justice na hinahanap namin.
Jonathan, if you're still there, pwedeng humingi ng, para lang magkaroon ng snapshot or idea yung mga tao. Ano? We have data, di ba, sa NUJP kung ilan na yung mga napatay na journalists under at least we stick to this under the Duterte administration. And may mga trends ba o pattern kayo na nakikita sa NUJP? Usually ba ano yung profile nung suspect pag ganyan? Ano ba yung mga patterns na nakikita natin?
Iba-iba kasi depende sa case, no? But there have been at least 20 killed in this administration, ano? And yung iba, state forces yan, no? Or kasi may isang claim, for example, na wala dapat siya doon at nasama daw siya sa encounter. Depende sa case, no? Siguro mas importante tingnan natin na trend, yung how authorities respond, no? Usually yan, mabilis yung condemnation, mabilis yung pag-announce ng investigation. And then, siguro, as with normal sa mga kaso, sa daloy ng mga kasong ganito, pwedeng isasabihin na resolved na or meron ng suspect. And then, yun na siya. Kahit sa kaso din ng mga threats, no? kunyari may mga kasamahan tayo na under threat, mag-report sila ng threat, minsan sasabihan sila na, okay na, tapos na, case closed na ito. Na wala namang update with them na parang paano mo nasabi na resolve na ito and hindi nga natin alam kung sino yung tao behind this, no? Or kunyari, may makakasuhan, usually ito ay gunman, ito yung attacker, pero hindi natin mahahanap kung sino talaga yung mastermind or sino yung nag-utos nung attack.
May mga na-identify ba yung NUJP? Paano ba pwedeng maiwasan yung mga ganitong incidents? Ano ba yung mga dapat i-institute sa level ng journalist? Meron ba tayong parang kailangan na what do you do pag meron kang threat na natanggap para bago pa maging totoong threat o aktual na pananakit o pagpaslang, mapigilan na? And sa level ng government, ano pa ba yung pwede nilang gawin para mahinto na tong culture of impunity na to?
Okay. Ang standard response natin to that would be to document and report. Sa unang level would be reporting to friends and colleagues kasi pwedeng kunyari may nagbabanta sa'yo and then they find out na maraming may alam, pwedeng matigil na yung threat doon, pwedeng mag-second thoughts na yung possibly aatake sa'yo, no? But also, kailangan din natin mag-report sa authorities, tama naman, dahil sila talaga yung may parang primary duty nila to protect us and to keep us safe, no? So, mas maganda pa rin talaga na magsasabi tayo either sa police or kunyari, medyo minsan mahirap in some areas. For example, if posible kasi na authorities mismo yung nag-threaten sa'yo, no? So, at the very least siguro, pwedeng sa barangay mo, no? Barangay officials, i-report mo para merong may alam na in case may nangyari, ito pala kasi yung background yan. Tapos siguro din, kailangan din emphasize na yung security of journalists, responsibility rin yan ng newsrooms natin, ng companies natin. No? So they really should also invest in that. Na dapat may security plan, dapat may mga protocols in case may mga coverage na kasi dati, lalo na I'm sure nung mga bata tayong mga journalists, parang game lang, go lang tayo, or at least ako, no? Na parang may storya, so cowboy lang, game lang. No? Pero hindi na siya pwede ngayon.
There's also the macho culture din ng industriya natin. Parang hindi puso sa atin yung matakot. Kahit na dapat naman talaga marunong tayong matakot. Dahil hindi naman tayo invincible sa bala.
Right. Oo. So yun, it's lahat tayo na, no? The community and also, yung nga, newsrooms and yung companies, they also have to make sure na we're safe.
Ayun. So kung may questions pa po, pwede pa kaming tumanggap para sa ating mga panelists. Nag-aantay tayo. Actually, sana si Miss Weng makahabol sa atin. Meron kasi siyang isa pang kasabay na event dito sa ating roundtable. Pero Jonathan, sorry, balikan ko lang. So in terms of international support, tingin mo ba ganun pa rin yung tutok nila dito sa case na to?
Yes, I think so, no? Kasi napakalaki talaga nito. It was a worst case nga, a worst attack on media, no? And they do look at that, no? Kunyari, sa International Federation of Journalists, binabantayan naman nila to. And yung, kahit yung sa CPJ, no? The fact that yung impunity index ina-adjust nila. And so, definitely, tinitingnan pa rin nila to. And I'm sure na kahit matagal na yung case, they are aware na there are very adverse conditions for journalists in the Philippines. Nakita naman natin din yun with the award of the Nobel Prize to Maria Ressa, no? Na it is a recognition of the conditions that we work in. Around the world, actually, many journalists naman are working under these conditions, and we're still working through them.
Yeah, and in fact, the PPI also acknowledges na hindi lang traditional risks yung hinaharap ng mga journalists ngayon, but because we are under a pandemic, we also even have technology-related risks. Alam mo yun? Cybersecurity risk, as well as having to fight disinformation and misinformation. Tapos paparating na rin yung eleksyon, So lahat yun nagsahog-sahog na, pati health concerns din, di ba? For our own security and health. Balikan ko lang po si Prosecutor Torrevillas. just to wrap up our discussion. Ma'am, sa experience po ninyo at sa naging matagal ninyong subaybay at paghawak din dito sa case, may mga masasuggest po ba kayo? Ano po ba mga pwedeng gawin o pwedeng improvements na mangyari para hindi na po maulit itong Ampatuan Massacre? Based sa nakita nyo po sa pag-handle ninyo dun sa case. Kay Prosecutor Torrevillas po.
Ay, ma'am.
Sorry po, ma'am. Ano po yung mga nakita ninyo kung, kasi syempre tutok na tutok sa kababad na babad kayo dito. May mga insights po ba kayo on how to, a lot of things, how to prevent this from happening again, how to move it a bit faster siguro? How to move these cases a bit faster?
Nako, siguro po ang pwede ko lang ibigay is sa case po itself, yung prosecution, yung filing. Number one po kasi sobrang dami ng victims, sobrang dami ng accused, sobrang dami ng abogado. So, mas marami pong abogado, number one, mas maraming abogado na nagre-represent po sa mga victims. Mas magkakaiba kasi ang kanilang strategy. So, that's number one. Second, ganun din po ang defense. So, sobrang dami ng defense lawyers. Marami pong magpo-cross. So, matagal po masyado. And we only have one judge. So, isang RTC lang po yan. And then, yung hiwalay po na paghuli sa mga akusado, siguro sa part ng PNP, kapag matagal hulihin, matagal ma-arraign and back to square one. So once po may mahuli, back to arraignment, ganun po katagal talaga siya. Siguro din yung sa part din ng prosecution is yung panel na mag-handle ng case, hindi rin po maganda yung palit-palit. So sana panel 1 siya na ang buong, at yun naman po sa amin, since kami pong nag-handle ng panel, dire-diretso rin sa part namin na kami yung mag-prosecute hanggang dulo. Hanggang nandito po kami sa department. Yun po kasi ang commitment namin kay SOJ. So, sa part po ng panel, meron pong 80 plus pa na accused who are at large. Hanggang nandito po kami po ang mag-handle. The same commitment po and the same passion dun po sa first case. So, yun po ang commitment lang ng panel. Medyo matagal po ito kasi ibang case po Iba, napakadami ng parties involved.
Ma'am, huwag po kayong mapapagod at huwag kayong makatawa. Kasi kailangan po talaga kayo ng mga biktima.
Opo.
We are joined now. I'm very thankful that she's already now with us. Si Miss Weng Paraan, the head of Bayan Mo Ipatrol Mo, is already with us here in the meeting room. Si Ate Weng, isa po siya sa mga unang-unang pack. Ando doon kaagad sa massacre site nung pagkatapos itong mangyari, along with the victims, talagang nakatutok. Miss Weng, for your opening remarks lang po.
Hi, sorry medyo napahaba yung discussion dun sa isang another Zoom meeting. So parang ang buhay ko puro Zoom to Zoom. Opening remarks, okay. Yung Ampatuan Massacre, sa tingin ko marami sa amin na nasa media, especially the ones who responded, yung mga unang nag-respond dun sa nangyaring insidente. Yung buhay namin nagbago, meron siyang impact dun sa buhay ng bawat isa. And the ones who were in the fact-finding mission that was organized by NUJP was me, the late Nonoy Espina, kami yung NUJP na nandun. We were with Carol Arguillas of Minda News, si Froilan Gallardo, at saka isang barangay ng mga media kasi sinusundan nila kung saan kami pupunta. Because we were trying to verify yung sino ba talaga yung media dun sa mga namatay? Kasi nung una, ang gulo-gulo pa eh. Ang gulo-gulo, yung listahan ng DSWD, may listahan ng police, may listahan si Jess Dureza, may listahan, lahat may kanya-kanyang listahan, pero hindi klaro sino dun yung journalist. So, noong una 20 plus, tas hanggang umabot kami ng 31. In fact, yung huli, yung pang 32 na member of media, that was established only several weeks after. Kaya yung libingan ni Jeffon kadagdagon na kahit nasa Jensen siya, kasi yung mga taga-Jensen nasa isang lugar sa forestry. Siya medyo nahiwalay siya kasi it took us quite a while before we could establish that at that time of his death, he was already a member of media. Dati kasi nag-drive siya ng van hanggang sa natuto siya magkuha ng picture, tapos he just joined a newspaper to be its photographer. No? So, ano yun? So, yung impact ng massacre sa aming lahat. Hanggang ngayon, kasi kumisan pag ini-interview pa rin ako tungkol dun sa experience, hindi mo talaga maiwasan, maiiyak Kasi to be able to establish yung media, kailangan mong puntahan yung funeral parlors, kailangan mong kausapin yung bawat pamilya, kailangan mong magtanong ng shocks, naiiyak pa rin ako. Pero yun, ang hirap niya na experience na sa normal lang, di ba, mag-cover ka lang ng aksidente na ang daming nasaktan. Medyo mahirap na, but lalo na for us nung sa NUJP, kasi it's not just a coverage, it's a campaign. So you respond and then you try to identify what can you do to be able to get justice for the victims. So tuloy-tuloy siya for several years. And in fact, during the first few years, buwan-buwan meron kaming ginagawa every 23rd of the month. No? Nung first month nga, every week yun iniikot siya dun sa iba-ibang news organization sa Manila. Tapos kahit yung mga beats, like diba yung Malacanang beat, yung DFA beat, lahat yan nagkaroon ng kanya-kanyang candlelighting. Tapos hanggang ginawa siya every month. Tapos eventually, of course, naging siyang tuwing anniversary na lang ng every year. And that's understandable. But we wanted to keep the issue alive. We wanted people to not forget. Kasi yung justice sa Pilipinas mabagal. At kailangan mo ng konting tulak. Hindi lang konting tulak, malakas na tulak para hindi siya hihinto. At kailangan lagi siyang naaalala ng mga tao. So that's what the commemorations were for. Hindi dahil sa nag-enjoy kaming magsindi ng kandila sa gitna ng kalye sa Boy Scout Circle or pumunta ka maya-maya sa General Santos or sa Maguindanao, but because we want people to continue to think about the massacre and about the victims and just not to look at the numbers lang, no? Because yung 32 na yun, yung 58 na yun, may mukha yun Kaya rin kinolekta namin yung photos. So one of the tarpaulins that we had done was that of the pictures of the victims. So yun. Ang hirap siya. Hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin siya nawawala. And hindi ko alam kung if ever mawawala. Pero ang laking bagay niya kasi even in the international community, those kind of actions ay nakatulong to put a spotlight on what's happening in the Philippines. The Ampatuan Massacre was the biggest, no? But hindi naman din siya huminto doon. The killings continued to happen even after the massacre. So ibig sabihin, the conditions that brought about the massacre continued to exist. Kahit dun sa Maguindanao, ganun pa rin naman So kailangan pa rin ng commemorations. Tama na kahit nagkaroon na ng desisyon, naka-appeal rin naman, at saka yung factors that led to that incident, they continue to exist. So we should also still continue to be vigilant. Yeah.
Alala ko yung mga sinasabi ni mga almost every month na pagsisindi ng kandila sa Boy Scout Circle, sa may Quezon City. Nagsimula yan, madami-dami tayo. Tapos parang paunti ng paunti. Tapos sa Malacanang, nabigla yung mga PSG doon. Bigla na lang nagsindi ng mga kandila yung mga reporters. And it was unheard of. Hindi naman nagagawa yun sa loob mismo yon ng Malacanang ginawa, yung pagsisindi ng kandila. And then I remember yung isa sa major na ginawa natin was yung mga makeshift na kabaong from PUP, dinala natin sa Menjola. Hindi ko alam kung tama ba. I think tama naman yung recollection ko. Kasama pa natin yung isang lawyer na hindi na natin babanggitin dahil iba na yung natatawa yung mga prosecutors din. Pero yun, naalala ko yun Tapos, I distinctly remember, mali pa yung naging desisyon natin noon. Imbis na sa ilalim dumaan, umangat pa tayo dun sa flyover. So, gravity was really against us habang dala-dala natin yung mga kabaong. Diyos ko, hingal kalabaw. Pero yun nga parang tama ka, hindi lang ito numero. Hindi lang numero yung pinag-uusapan natin. These are people who, somebody's loved ones. These are somebody's husband, somebody's wives, kapatid, anak, asawa, etc. Saka okay lang na umiyak. Ako rin kanina medyo naiiyak. Parang na lang to. Catharsis. May dalawa tayong tanong pa dito sa chat group. Una para kay Nenen and para kay Miss Grace. Galing kay Joel San Juan of Business Mirror. Considering that you have yet to attain full justice, ano yung sentimiento ninyo on the possibility that those convicted as accessories to the crime might soon be released from prison since they have already served their prison term, which is 6 to 10 years? Yun po, yun ang tanong ni Joel. Tapos later, I will go to the question of Mike Navalio. Kung sinong unang gustong sumagot, si Miss Grace or si Miss Nenen po? Ayan, si Miss Grace po muna.
Hello, Ma'am Joyce.
Opo, go ahead
po. Pwede
po.
munang pakiulit yung tanong. At hindi po na putol-putol.
Ay, opo. Okay lang po, nagpa-fluctuate ang internet. At tatanong lang ni Joel San Juan, yung possibility daw po na yung mga accessories to the crime na nakapag-serve na ng 6 to 10 years na prison term ay baka mapakawalan na rin po. Ano po ang pakiramdam daw ng pamilya dito?
Mahirap pong sagutin para sa amin yun. Pero, syempre po, nasa korte naman po yung kaso. Kung mapapatunayan na wala talaga silang sala, kahit naman siguro anong gawin namin sa bagay na yun, ewan ko lang kung magagawa pa kami. Pero kung wala naman talaga silang sala at na-serve na yung ilang years nila sa kulungan, siguro tama bang sabihin enough na yun para sa kanila kung naging accessory nga sila? Mahirap pong sagutin sa ganang akin kasi hinahabol namin lahat ng nakasama dun sa plano ay kailangan magbayad dun sa kailangan mapanagot dun sa krimeng ginawa nila. Kasi po, naging accessory sila. So, kasama sila dun sa plano. Kasama sila sa massacre. Yan po.
Thank you, Grace. Pasensya na ha. Medyo mahirap yung tanong ni Joel. Nenen, gusto mo bang dagdagan yung sinabi ni Grace?
Sir Joel, masyadong mahirap yung tanong mo. On my end, kasi karugtong niyan, I know karugtong ng tanong is baka may magiging threat sa family kasi nakalabas sila. On my end, parang I feel secure kasi malayo ako, pero hindi ko alam yung mga kasamahan ko. I really feel bad about them. Kung pwede ko nga lang sana dalhin lahat ng kasamahan ko dito, dadalhin ko sila. If I only have, the power na bibit-bitin ko yung kasamahan ko dito, for them to be secured, ginawa ko kaso wala akong power ng ganun. And napakahirap isipin na yung mga taong naglagay ng dugo sa kamay nila dun sa pagpatay sa mga pamilya namin makakalabas. Kahit sabihin mo lang na kahit sa pagplano lang, napakahirap mong sabihin na parang enough. There's no word as in enough na 10 taon lang. Kumbaga 10 taon lang yung ng buhay yung sa pagpatay. Paano kung bibigyan kami ng chance na patayin namin sila at magsiserve kami ng 10 taon? Would that be enough for them? Napakasakit. Iba yung pakiramdam ngayon na narinig ko yan na parang makakalabas sila, security-wise, paano yung mga pamilya na nandyan. Hindi tao yung mga yan na hindi mo alam kung ano yung nasa utak na, ang hirap mong, I can't put a word into it na parang ang mura-mura ng buhay ng mga pamilya namin. Yun lang. Napakamura ng buhay ng mga pamilya namin. 10 taon for me is not enough for them to be there. Kung pwede lang sila habang buhay lahat na nandun sa loob, I think that would suffice.
Sa kanina, naalala ko, based on the testimonies dun sa kaso, parang the way they planned it, napaka-casual. Diba, they were having dinner, tapos parang, ano gagawin natin dito? Patayin natin, diba, kill them all. Napaka-casual. It's really impunity Kasi alam nilang kaya nila, they can get away with it.
Yeah, Miss Joyce, if, kasi yun yung sabi, di ba, ng mga witnesses natin na nagdi-dinner sila, kumakain sila, and then pinag-uusapan nila casually. You know what? It's because normal na nilang ginagawa Hindi ganun mag-usap yung mga taong hindi normal ginagawa yun.
Yung first time pa lang papatay.
Kung first time nilang pumatay, hindi ganun ka-casual. Gagawin nila yun in secret, pero kung ganun, it's not the first time. Kaso, dinamihan nila, sinabay nila ng marami Kaya dun sila nagkamali. I think it happened for a purpose, na para matapos na rin yung kasamaan nila.
Yung prosecution panel po ba may gustong idagdag? Otherwise, I will move to the question of Mr. Mike Navalio po of ABS-CBN. Kung wala, then I will move. I think this is for Jonathan and for Ate Weng, Ang question ni Mike, how have conditions changed since 2009? Is there a resurgence of the Ampatuan clan in Maguindanao? Dinagdag niya si Senator Manny Pacquiao daw, who's running for president, recently endorsed an Ampatuan pero hindi siya sure sa political leanings ng kandidato who was endorsed. We'll start with Weng and then Jonathan.
Hindi na ako ganun ka-familiar ng sino na yung mga nakapwesto sa Maguindanao. Pero kung if what we're talking about is kung yung system, for example, ng warlordism, political patronage, corruption, these are still there. No? Hindi pa rin siya nawawala. In fact, a few years din naman after the massacre, di ba, marami pa rin Ampatuans yung napunta sa pwesto. Kasi yung mga nakakulong, pinatakbo nila yung mga asawa nila. So hindi naman talaga sila nawala siguro for a time medyo nabawasan ng konti kasi yung top position went to someone else. Pero hindi sila nawala sa power. And then other factors like warlords, patronage, yung issue ng corruption. Nandun pa rin yan lahat eh. Si Ed Lingao did a very good documentary about the clans in Maguindanao. Kung paano yung anuhan sa power eh. So I think the message in that docu is still very much relevant to this day. Sana ngayong eleksyon, bantayan natin yung mga lugar na katulad ng Maguindanao. Kasi hindi pwedeng sapat na pag-usapan lang natin yung isang case. Tapos na pinag-uusapan natin siya na parang it happened in a vacuum. It did not, because yung situation, there's a situation that enabled it to happen. So yun yung dapat pag-aralan tungkol sa Maguindanao Massacre, sa Ampatuan Massacre. Kasi yun yung kung gusto natin ng solution, it's really that possible. Yun yung kailangan gawin. At least to be able to identify kung ano yung dapat ayusin, dapat baguhin. Mahalaga yung case, mahalaga yung how it's doing, mahalaga na nagkaroon ng conviction at yung tawag natin, di ba, partial jury at least. Pero yung situation that gave rise to a massacre of 58 people, we need to look at that.
Thank you, Weng. Jonathan, you'd like to take on that question?
Actually, I think nasagot na ni Ma'am Weng yung actually pareho lang yung sasabihin ko. And I think fitting then to defer to her bilang kasama naman siya sa unang nag-respond, no? And yung sitwasyon, pareho pa rin. Ay, sorry. Pero yun nga, na yung analysis would be the same pa rin. It's the same system. If the question is, meron pa rin bang political families na may private armies, then yes, pretty much ganun pa rin siya. So yun, Mameng actually really said it very well. So yun, thank you.
So ayun, wala na po tayong questions na nare-receive sa ating chat box. Gusto po nating pasalamatan lahat po ng speakers natin. Jonathan, huwag kang kampante, hindi ka pa pakakawalan. At this juncture, I'd like to ask everyone for their brief closing remarks. Simulan po natin sa Ampatuan Maguindanao Massacre Panel. Prosecutor Torrevillas, ma'am, para sa inyo pong closing remarks lang po.
Yes, ma'am. Rest assured po sa group na we will handle the case the same way that we handled dito po sa unang promulgation. Same commitment, ma'am. Same passion. So, yun lang po ang kaya namin i-commit sa family at sa members po ng media.
Sana ma'am makita namin kayo in a face-to-face setting. Dadalan po namin yung vitamins, ma'am. Para may energy sa paglaban itong kasong to.
Thank you po, ma'am. Thank you. Ingat po lahat.
Salamat po, ma'am. Kay Miss Grace po, tapos si Nenen, and then Jonathan, and then Weng. And then we will close the RTD. Miss Grace?
Yes po. Nagpapasalamat po ako muli sa pagkakataong ganito. Narinig po namin yung update ng DOJ. At narinig po namin yung commitment nila sa families. Napakalaking bagay po noon sa amin. Salamat po. At sa mga media organizations na hindi kami iniwan, ay tuloy yung laban, sila yung nagbibigay ng lakas. At yun po, gusto lang po namin ipaalam sa lahat na tuloy pa po yung kaso. Yung Justice Now po ay lumalaban para sa 58 na biktima. At sana huwag makalimutan po na may 58 na victims na nawala sa Ampatuan Massacre during election time. Muli po, tuloy ang laban at magandang umaga po.
Maraming salamat, Grace. Nenen?
To the prosecutors, maraming salamat po, ma'ams. malaking utang na loob po ang aking tinatanaw sa pag-handle nyo ng walang sawa sa case. It's been 12 years pero hindi po kayo nagsawa. And tumatanda lang tayong sabay, pare-pareho pero yung laban is still, yung level ng laban is still nandun. At ngayon kampanting-kampante ako dahil alam kong kasama ko kayo sa laban na to. And I'm really grateful for everyone sa media na for the late Sir Nonoy, talagang siya yung coach ko for the past 11 years. Talagang na-miss ko siya this year. Talagang, the other night, naiyak nga ako. I remember Sir Nonoy na yung before ng Massacre, talagang may briefing ng ginagawa si Sir Noy sa akin na, okay, prepare mo na yung statement mo na everything. Nakakamiss yun. And isa siya sa mga naging lakas ko, si Ma'am Weng, naging nanay-nanayan ko. Kumbaga, hindi lang siya naging kasama, naging nanay-nanayan ko siya, naging sumbungan ko siya ng sama ng loob ko. Naging, ang laki na pasalamat ko sa inyong lahat. Hindi ko, it's been 12 years, pero naiiyak pa rin akong isipin na yung pagmamahal niyo, nararamdaman ko sa bawat, hindi lang sa bawat anibersaryo ng Maguindanao Massacre, pero nararamdaman ko yun araw-araw. It's been 12 years, pero, everyday parang merong nag-hi, kumusta ka na? Ang laki ng nakakataba ng puso na hindi lang tayo naging magkasama, naging magkapamilya tayo at naging magkaibigan. At sobrang salamat talaga sa media community. Saludo po ako sa inyong lahat.
Maraming salamat, Lenen. Kayo naman, masyado kayo mapagpuwing ng mata ngayon, nakakainis. Ang make-up ko. Dating, mukhang nag-iiyakan na. Si Jonathan, huwag ka magpapaiyak.
Hindi. I think nakita naman natin sa forum na to, Tsaka during this week, na napakahaba nga na nito, At nakakabilib yung mga families at yung prosecutors sa pagtuloy pa rin sa paglaban for justice, So as journalists, the best we can do talaga is to keep the story alive, to keep the case alive, So sa pagpatuloy nating pag-cover sa mga developments or lack of developments dito. At syempre din, bukod sa we stand in solidarity with the families, we also should stand in solidarity with others in our community who have also been attacked, who have also been harassed since then, na sama-sama po tayo, tama po kayo, na lahat tayo ay hihingi ng justice para sa attacks na ito. So tuloy lang po tayo at hanggang full justice ang makuha natin. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Jonathan. Ms. Weng?
Sorry.
Nag-off-video din ako kanina dahil ganun.
Kasi nanggaling ako from another Zoom na iba yung topic. Tapos paglipat mo rito, parang hindi ka pa psychologically prepared to discuss. So, yun. Tapos may dalawa pang iyakin dito na ang hirap eh. Yung massacre talagang nagdulot siya ng sugat. Hindi lang siya yung sugat sa psyche, sugat na malalim. Doon sa mga nag-cover, yung mga tuwira na nakausap yung mga pamilya, nakita yung paano yung backhoe, dadakot siya ng lupa, tapos pagbaliktad niya, may kasama na siyang katawan. Yung amoy, hindi mo yun malilimutan eh. Siya, talagang meron siyang dinulot na sugat. Meron din siyang sugat sa buong media community. Kasi ipinamukha niya kung ano yung itsura ng ng kalagayan, no, ng paano yung buhay ng mga mamamahayag sa Pilipinas, anong mga danger, no, na hinaharap niya dito. Kapag gusto mo talagang gumawa ng mga malalim, mahirap na gawin ng mga investigative stories, for example, meron kang mga ganitong pwedeng mangyari sa'yo. Yung sugat na yon, hindi yon basta-basta mawawala. At hindi ko rin alam kung gusto mo bang mawala. Kasi ang gusto natin is patuloy na harapin, gawa ng paraan na yung mga bagay na nagdudulot ng mga ganitong pahirap, ng ganitong situation, dapat ma-address din at masolusyonan. Sila Jonax, sila yung NUJP, yung CMFR, yung PPI. Matagal na tayong magkakasama, di ba? Every year we talk about press freedom, we talk about the welfare of journalists. Pero maya-maya may mamamatay. Nung nag-lockdown, nakita natin mga kasama natin sa media, automatic, walang trabaho, yung iba. Tapos yung iba, wala na nga, aliit na nga ng bayad sa kanila, bibili pa sila ng PPE, transportation, yung walang sasakyan, di sila makapag-cover. So parang, yung Massacre, nakatulong siya in a way kasi binigyan niya ng nakatulong siya para tingnan ng mas malapitan kung ano yung sitwasyon ng media sa Pilipinas. Not just in terms of press freedom but also in terms of well-being of journalists. Kasi yung marami doon sa mga sumama doon sa na namatay din nandun din sila. 'Di ba? Kasi kailangan nila mag-cover Kaya kahit alam ng mga tao na delikado, susugod at susugod kasi kailangan mo ng hanap buhay. So yun yung pinakita ng Massacre. Marami din siyang magandang dinulot na karanasan, such as how the international community rallied to help us. The support that they gave, the organizations magmula sa IFJ, the International Federation of Journalists, yung Committee to Protect Journalists, at saka yung marami pang ibang organisasyon. Tinulungan tayo para makita ng buong mundo yung nangyayari sa Pilipinas at bigyan tayo ng suporta nung panahon na yon. At yung nagpapatuloy yung support na yon hanggang ngayon. We see this in the projects that are being implemented in the Philippines, yung mga partnerships na nagagawa ngayon ng iba-ibang media organizations. Nakatulong din siya ng malaki. And then another thing that the Massacre did was also to spotlight yung issue ng trauma, mga journalists. Even dun sa mga families ng mga victims. But specifically for the journalists, ang laki ng bagay na yon because we started addressing trauma in a systematic manner nung pagkatapos mangyari yung Massacre. So, siguro nasa atin na lang kung paano natin huhugutin yung positive mula dun sa experience at paano natin siya pagyayamanin at ipagpapatuloy. Yun lang yung hiling natin, na we need to look at the situation deeper at report about issues ng mas malalim. Kasi sa totoo lang, madami pang issue tungkol sa Massacre na hindi siya napapublish. At ilang tao lang tingin ko yung kayang mag-publish nun, the ones who really did yung extensive research, yung immediately after. Sana mangyari yon na magkaroon ng isang definitive account tungkol dun sa Massacre para maiset yung record straight. Kasi 12 years marami na rin nakakalimot dun sa nangyari. Yung mga kausap ko nga kanina ng mga estudyante, parang ano pa sila, elementary pa sila nung panahon na nangyari yung massacre. So there has to be an account about what happened at dapat kumpleto yung account na yun. Closing remarks daw, no? Sorry. Sige, yun lang naman. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat, Weng. Bago natin officially i-close ang ating roundtable, gusto ko sana ng souvenir photo natin lahat. Baka pwedeng mag-on lang ng video po para kahit paano may remembrance tayo na nagsama-sama tayo today. Carol, bagong gupit. Tapos si Kier po ang kukuha ng photos. Pa-on lang ng video ng mga kasama natin pa sa Zoom meeting room natin. Kier, let us know pag
On lang po.
Andito pala si Melanie Pinlac.
Andito si Melanie Pinlac, kasama din natin.
Si Melanie was also one of those who responded. Kasama siya dun sa fact-finding mission.
Okay po. Ready lang po. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
So, ayun po. Gusto ko pong pasalamatan. Oh my God, maraming salamat po talaga to everyone who joined us today. To Nenen, I know inaantok ka na dyan. Maraming salamat at
okay lang, maaga pa.
Ang aming Aya.
9 o'clock pa lang ng gabi.
9 o'clock pa lang yan. 9 p.m. Where she is right now. Kay Miss Grace from Jensen, maraming salamat po for joining us. Kay Ate Weng, kay Jonathan, at lalo sa mga prosecution panel natin. Nabigla kami, ma'am. Kasi akala namin si Prosecutor Torrevillas lang, tapos full force sila ngayon. Kaya sobrang natutuwa po kami for joining us today and for adding to the discussion. So at this juncture, I'd like to thank our partner, ang Seidel Foundation. Maraming salamat mula sa PPI at mula sa HSF. At magkita-kita po tayo ulit sa susunod natin na roundtable. Thank you, Gots, for staying on until the end of the discussion. Kay Carol, to the training team of the PPI, maraming salamat. Yes, there is an online survey. Baka raw pwede pong mag-participate. Nasa chat group po ang ating survey link for everyone in this chat room. So yun, maraming salamat everyone. Kahit na malungkot at medyo mabigat yung ating discussion, just retouch your makeup later for those who nasira ang makeup. Buti dugi tayo dun sa prosecutors kasi may mask sila. So kahit na umiiyak, hindi kita. Kami kailangan mag-off ng video muna. Maraming salamat po. At sana ngayon nga, patuloy lang po yung laban natin at may utang kaming vitamin sa inyo, ma'am. Para...
Thank you, ma'am. Ingat po. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Miss Joyce.